So what we are going to look at it today we'll start with taking a look at what is Power BI Desktop is all about. And also we will move ahead and take a look at how to navigate the Power BI Desktop. And also we will take a look at how we can connect to different source systems. So this is the Power BI Desktop. Those of you are quite new into the Power BI Desktop, I would suggest you to type the Power BI Desktop here. Power BI Desktop here. You just type it here in the start window, right? So the start button, next to the start button, you just type the Power BI Desktop. You can see the Power BI Desktop here. If you click on it, it will launch the Power BI Desktop. I'll do it one more time. Let me do it one more time. This one, Power BI Desktop. And I believe all of you have received the login credentials, right? All of you have received the login credentials and you are able to log into my website, right? And also if you can share your photo, passport size photo, that would be good, because in the course completion certificate, we'll put your photo there, okay? All the students, they used to share it. But anyhow, that we will take it later, okay? We'll take it up later. So once you launch the Power BI Desktop, you will see the welcome screen like this. You need to click on the cross sign here, okay? Cross sign here. So here, if you want to see every once in 2 months or so, what Microsoft they do is they will include the new features in the Power BI Desktop. Okay, so if when you click on the what's new, you'll be able to see the update, monthly update also. And you can, when you click on the forums, it will take you to the Power BI forum wherein you can ask questions. You can interact with the other community users in the Power BI group, and your Power BI blog and tutorials. So these are the tutorials which can help you to get started. Anyhow, don't worry, in this training program, we'll start everything from the ground up. So now what I do is I just click on the cross thing here. I don't need this welcome screen. I just close this. Okay, 1 second. Let me just see what is happening here. Okay, so after you close that welcome screen, you will find your Power BI Desktop like this. Okay, here what we do is we will first understand the navigations part. Okay, on the left side you can find. Just give me a second. Let me just open that. Yeah, what I thought was correct. This one got closed. Here, okay, you will find the 3 icons here on the extreme left side. Okay, 3 icons. By default, this is your report view. Okay, as soon as you launch your Power BI Desktop, what you see here is your report canvas. This is what your report canvas. This is where we create the reports. Look here on the right side, you will find the visualizations pane. Just beneath this, you will see all the visuals. All the visuals. These are charts. Visuals are nothing but charts. In Power BI, we call visuals as charts. Okay. And here we create the reports. Fine. The default when you open the Power BI Desktop, what you are going to see is the report canvas. Okay. And if you don't want to see the report canvas, or if you want to switch over from report view, this is the report canvas. It is also called as a report view. So from report view to data view, if you want to switch over it, you can click on this icon. Here you can see the data for your data set. Here you can see the data for your data set. Okay. And the next one is the model view. So here you can see the data model view. So who is this admin? I'm just wonder who is this one admin here. One second, please. Someone has logged in here. Let me just check. Okay, admin, thank you. I got it. Okay. So this is your data model view. Okay. So this is where you can see all the tables, right? The relationship, everything here. And this is what your data view, and this is what your report view. So this icon, okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'll just show you how to load the data into the, we'll start with the basic stuff again, so that you will be able to understand all, since there is a gap, right? So we'll do that. So what I'm going to do is if you click on the get data here, the drop down list here, you can see all the connectors. Okay, you have something called Excel workbook, Power BI data, so data flows, all the things. And I'm going to click on the text CSV thing. Here I just load the sales W04 file. This is the comma separated value file. All of you are familiar with the comma separated value file, right? So what is CSV? CSV stands for comma separated value file. So initially I'll be going on in a very slow pace. Okay. And from next weekend onwards, we will step up the pace of this training program. Okay. The CSV stands for comma separated value files. So which means, each column is separated with a delimiter called comma. Okay, I just selected the file name sales underscore W04.csv, and what you see here is the data preview window. What you see is the data preview window. So before you load the data, make sure that you are loading the correct data. So you are very sure this is the file that you wanted to load it, but in the real-time scenario, in different folder, you might be having the same file name. Okay, and make sure that even though the file names are same, you are loading the correct file. So for that, you take a cursory look at what columns are available, what are the data that are available, and some extent it will give you an idea about the quality of the data. So do we have any missing values? Look here, we have NA. So in case of any blank values, what Power BI does is it assigns NA, not available. Okay. And also we can see some issue here in the sales column, the number data type, right? So the sales column is supposed to be numeric data type, which means it's a decimal number. It's supposed to be a decimal number data type, but along with this, a dollar, right? So they've used the dollar, they prefix this with dollar, but rest of the values are fine. There is some treatment is required here. What will happen is you take any programming language. If you mix the text with the number or number with the text or any special character, the entire column will become a text data type. There is something wrong here. And also if you see the first record, you find the first record as a null record, blank value. So you need to remove this one. Though there are some data issues, but it's okay. But majority of the data looks better. Okay. But again, addressing this issue will not take much time. Okay. So what I do is I just hit a load. So some students, they ask me this question in the sales W04.csv. Let's say I have 1,000 records. Will the entire 1,000 records will get displayed here as part of the data preview window? No. So preview, as the name suggests, it will show you just some sample data. It is not the entire data. Okay. Let's say you have 5 million records or 1 million records. In the preview window itself, if it shows all the 1 million records, it is not the right way, right? So what I do is now, okay, since it shows only the subset of the data, okay, only small number of small records, it will show you. Next one is there are three buttons here, as the name says, either cancel, you click on the cancel, the data will not get loaded. When you select transform data, it will open the Power BI Power Query Editor. So that is where we do the data transformation. The Power Query Editor is like a kitchen. That is where we do all kind of cleaning everything. Okay. And right now, I don't want to do any data cleaning or data pre-processing, right? So if you want to do any data cleaning, data pre-processing, then you need to click on the transform data. Transform data is nothing but your Power Query Editor. That is one of the important components you should remember. That is where we do majority of the data transformation. Okay, at this moment, I just want to load the data. I don't want to do any data pre-processing upfront. First, let me see if this data gets loaded successfully or not. Now, Power BI Desktop establishes the connection with the CSV file. It is loading this CSV file into my Power BI Desktop. $25,007 rows got loaded. Okay. The data got loaded, but where can I see the file now? So on the extreme right side, you will find the fields pane. Just beneath the fields pane, you will find the file which you loaded. And if you see here, the file name was sales_w04.csv. And the preview window we have seen it, right? And if you want to see the columns that they belong to this file, you need to click on this icon. Okay. When you click on this, the columns belong to this table will get expanded. You can see all the columns that belongs to this file. So I'm no longer call this as a file. Okay, once you load, no matter what type of file that you load, or irrespective of the type of the file that you load it into your Power BI desktop, the Power BI will consider them as a table. If you see here, just before the sales W04, you can see the table icon. Okay, whether it is an XML file or JSON file or SQL server table or Teradata table, you name any type of file, system, source system, it will consider everything as a table. Okay, so okay, fine. The data got loaded. That I could see that I just under the fields pane, I can see the file name and then the corresponding column names of this file. We can see it here. Everything is fine. If I want to see the data, where can I see that? You need to click on the data view. You need to switch to the data view. It will take for a while to load the data here. So good that you can see that all the data here. And if you want to see the number of records loaded, you can see it here at the left lower bottom. You can see the number of records loaded into this one. And next thing what I do is I just select the model view. There are three components you need to remember. The report view, what the default one, when you open the Power BI desktop, what you see is the report view. This is also called as a report canvas. This is one of the components. Okay. And the other component is the model view. Model view is nothing but Power Pivot. Okay. So here you can see the table thing here. Okay. So this is kind of your Erwin diagram. How many of you are familiar with the Erwin tool? So that is where we do the data model design. Okay. So you can see the table, something like this, the same table, you will find something like this. If you load more than one table, what will happen is Power BI automatically detect the relationship between the tables. And then it draws a line between the table. Okay. And anyhow, we'll discuss that later point in time. So remember that we have three components that forms part of your Power BI desktop. One is your report view, other one is your model view, which is nothing but the Power Pivot. And the other one is your Power Query Editor. So transform data, you need to select in your home ribbon. In your home ribbon, you need to select here you need to select the transform data menu here under the home ribbon. When you click on this, it will take you to your Power Query Editor. Just give me a second. There is an urgent call. Hello. phone. And here, this is what your Power Query Editor. So whatever you see in this Power BI desktop, the data view, sorry, here, right, the data view, the same thing you can see it here as well in the Power Query Editor. Okay, the Power Query Editor. Okay. Okay. Now the question is, what is the difference between these two? This is just to check what data got loaded into your table, right? As soon as you load the data into Power BI desktop to check whether the intended data got loaded completely or not, you can see it here. And if you want to perform any data transformation, for example, you wanted to do some kind of reformatting. For example, if I click on the order date here, it shows it's a text data type. So this is a date column. Ideally, Power BI desktop should have assigned the date data type. And if you click on the drop down here, you can see the data types that are available. You know, as part of this, you can see whole number, decimal number, all things. But unfortunately, Power BI desktop, after loading this data into this Power BI desktop, it assigned the data type as a text to this column. This one's supposed to be date data type or date time or date data type, but assign the text there. Why? Because you have some special characters mixed with your number values. 12 followed by forward slash and 17 followed by forward slash and 2011, right? So here the month, the date, year got separated by forward slash. Okay, hence it assigned this as a text data type. And you have ship data, and here also you have text data type. It got assigned with the text data type. So it needs some kind of treatment. You need to convert these are date data type, but you cannot simply click on the date. It will throw some error because if you try to convert the text into number, it will throw an error. For example, your name is Ashok, and if you try to convert that as a number, it will not work, isn't it? Ashok 22. If you try to convert that as a number, because Ashok is not a number, right? But even though if it is a string data type, all the string values are number, then it can convert it as a number data type. Or here, but in this case, a date data type, right? So this is something like special format. It is not like a number data type. Even though in the string, if you have all the numeric values are there, but this is not a, the date format, right? So, but hence it requires some kind of treatment. But fine, you can also convert it here, date, unless, but provided that all these values are in having the same format. Okay, the values in this column are consistent, then you can go ahead and convert as a date data, right? But if you notice it very carefully here, few records, they have used the forward slash as the delimiter, month, date, year, right? To distinguish month, date, year, they use forward slash. But whereas few records, they used hyphen. But one way it is good, though they have used the hyphen here, but we can see that month, date, year format is there. It is a month, date, year is a US date format. But here I need to, one way of making this date values in this column is to convert all these format as single and common format. Okay, either all these delimiter are supposed to be hyphen or it should be forward slash. But we have a mix of, these two things are there. So, but here, how do I do that? But when you right click on it, you will not find any option to replace the values. Okay, that is the reason why you can go ahead with Power Query Editor. I just launch it one more time. All of you, please bear with me. Okay, I'll be going in a slow pace today also. Look here, transform data, select this one and hit the transform data. It will take you to the Power Query Editor. If you see here, I'm going to select the order data, but in the Power Query Editor, next to each column, you will find the ABC or 1, 2, 3, something like that. Okay. So the ABC tells us the order date column is a text data type and row dot ID is a whole number. It is not a decimal number, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Sorry, if you need to click on here. So it is a whole number. 1, 2, 3 is nothing, but this icon is nothing but whole number. And if you scroll towards the right side, A lot of text columns are there. And if you see the discount column 1.2, what is 1.2? 1.2 is nothing but decimal number. The discount column is of decimal number data type, and the quantity column is a whole number data type, 1, 2, 3, whole number data type. Got it? And the sales column is a text data. There is a problem here. We need to address this one as well. The first thing first, how we are going to convert this column order date into date data type. Even ship date also have a problem here. We need to convert the date format. Okay. So for that, before I can click on it here, I can select either date or date time. When I select date, what will happen is, look here. It throws an error. Okay. Except this column, these values, rest of the forward slash, right? Those values have used the delimited forward slash. It it produces an error. It produces something like an error. Data format error. We wouldn't parse the input as a date value. So what is the way out? I just go ahead and undo this one. So here in Power Query Editor, please remember that we don't have the Control Z. Control Z option is available to undo the actions, whatever we carried out. Instead, what they have done, next to each step, right? They've given the, you can find the cross sign here. When you click on it, it will be undone. Okay. I don't want to mistakenly I have selected date data type here itself. Okay. So what I do is, hey, don't do the data type change. I want the original data back. Okay. So this applied steps is very important. It is very useful also. Whatever the data transformation that you do it, right? It will record each and every steps or actions in sequence. But it is kind of like CCTV. In your house, you have a CCTV camera. So with that, you can find out who entered your house first and who entered your house later, right? So likewise, in the case of steps, it will maintain it will record each and every actions or steps that you carry out in sequence, in the proper sequence. Okay. So that later point in time, if you want to go and verify, so what kind of data pre-processing, reformatting I did it, we can see it here. Okay. You can go back and see it. Anyhow, that we will discuss in detail later. So now what is the issue now? So what is the way out? How I am going to address this issue? How am I going to convert the data type? One way is I can select this icon. These are the data types that are available. I can select date, but when I select the date, what happened? It is throwing an error. So what I do is I'll replace all these hyphen by forward slash. So how do I do that? You just keep the cursor somewhere here, not here, somewhere here. Okay, right click on it. You will find replace values. Like in Excel, how you do it, right? The same thing. Here, what I am going to do is I'm going to type the hyphen forward slash. You can use the opposite also. You can put forward slash here hyphen, but in my case, what it is, I will replace all the hyphen by forward slash so that all the values in this column will be in the consistent format. Look here now, the hyphen went off. So now what I do is I just go and select the date here, but instead of doing that, I'm going to select using locale. You need to remember this. If you want to convert into different time zones related data type, right? So this is the best way. And the data type is going to be date. And then what we are saying is, hey, this is a data type. And you need to convert the values in this date column into United States. Now look here, next to the order date, you can see the calendar icon, which means the order date column got converted successfully as a date data type. Cool. Okay, if you notice on the right side here, just beneath the applied steps, change the type with locale. Okay, and if you see here in this formula bar, there is something like table dot transform column types, replaced value, order date, type is date, and the date format is English US, United States. So what is this? This is called your M language. markup language. This will get generated as soon as you perform any task or any the data transfer related task, okay, or any steps that you carry out. This one will get generated. So all we did was just I right clicked on it and then clicked on replace values. That's all, right? But behind the scene, it generates the M script on our behalf. We don't have to write this one. It is generated automatically by the Power Query editor. So all we need to just point and click and do the transformation. Okay, wherever it is required, you just. But in the case of complex transformation, obviously you may have to write. You may have to be familiar with using the YAML script. But in this case, for doing this kind of simple data transformation, you don't have to be familiar with all these things. Okay. Okay. Now, what is the other thing? So next one is the other issue, the sales column. Okay. Here, if I look at all these values, or if you select the drop down here, and you can see almost all the values are in the proper format except this one. And also I have a blank value. What I do is first I will remove the first record because that is a blank record. What I am going to do is I'm going to see in the home. Currently I'm in the home ribbon, but we are in Power Query editor. Remember that. So here you will find the remove rows. Select this one, remove top rows. The first row I am going to remove it because that has a blank value in it. I removed it. Very good. Even that one also it captured here. Okay, everything is captured. Remove top rows. You can table dot skips, change type with locale1. Okay, remove table dot skip. Okay, the first record. That is what it says. And then here, okay, I removed the blank record. Now the sales column got assigned with the text data. We need to address this one. I can select I can click on the icon. I can directly specify decimal number. If I do it, what is happening? Look here, the text value got conversion error. You cannot convert text as a numerator. And also, if you scroll down here, earlier we were seeing that NA was there. Look here, NA was there. Wherever blank values are there, Power Query Editor, it assigns the blank values with NA. Not only it caused an error while converting from the text to number data type, in this case, for the text value, but also it threw in an error, right? It came up with an error like NA. Even for NA also you cannot convert this as a number data type. Just like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this action or the step, whatever I carried out. I want the original data back. Look here, I'm going to click on it here. Next to this, change type. I'm going to. It requires some kind of treatment, like in the case of order date. What I did, I just formatted all the values in that date column in the consistent format, right? The same way, what I'm going to do is here, I keep the cursor over here, right click on it, but here it is little bit different. So how do I remove the dollar? If I remove the dollar, then the rest of the values are number type. Okay, let's see what happens. Here I just type the dollar and then replace with blank, which means blank means empty string. Okay. In that case, what will happen is this dollar will be replaced with empty string. Nothing will be there. Hence, you are end up with having only 2309.65 value. Okay, let me see if it is stripping that one. Yes, it stripped that dollar from here. Very good. Now, another issue is NA is there, right? So what I'll do is I right click on it and replace values NA by 0 here. See, in some projects, they use some numbers like 4999999 for empty values. Okay. Instead of 0, they use 999. But what we will do is for the blank values, in this case, I use 0 here. Okay, now I just go here and select the decimal number. Perfect. Next to the sales, now we can see 1.2, which means this is a number type. And even the discount also, we could see some kind of problem here. But if you see the values here, almost all the values are numeric values, though it is a numeric value, it got assigned with text data type. Here it doesn't require any treatment because we don't see any text value here. And I just click on this and then I convert it as a decimal number. Now, let's say you have 1 million records or then your data set. So how will you know that whether you have the 100% value to values are there in this column? For this, select the view ribbon and select column quality. The view ribbons, column quality. So here, once you select this one, it will display 3 statistics: valid, how much percent value values are there, how much percentage of error values are there, how much percentage of empty values are there. Now it shows us 100% valid values are there. So which means that there are no error. Very good. And the same thing here, the quantity is also this thing, we will just convert a decimal number. And if you see here, valid 100%. It doesn't require any treatment, whereas in this case, we were unable to convert the text into decimal number upfront, right? So we before converting from text to number, in this case, it requires some kind of treatment. So we removed the dollar, okay, and then we replaced NA by 0, and then only we converted it to decimal number data. Right? Only then it became it got converted as a decimal number data type. So this is kind of a statistic. If you go to the view and if you enable, so it is always good if you enable this and then if you do data transfer, it will be good, so that you can catch hold of any errors upfront here itself. Empty 0%, everything is good. Okay, now we have converted the order date into data. So now the question is, so why should I convert the order date from text to date data type? Let it be there. What is going to, it is not going to cause any issues. So will that cause any issues? Yes, it will cause an issue. How? You cannot perform any date related arithmetic operation. For example, if you want to subtract the order date from ship date, you cannot do it. From the date column to date column, you can subtract it. Or if you want to extract only the year from this column, and then if you want to keep all the years in a separate column, there are some date functions are available, using which you can do it. But if it is in a text data type, the date functions will not work. For that purpose, you need to make sure that all the columns, right? All the columns are assigned with the correct data type, the important columns, okay? Especially those columns that you use it to perform data analytics, make sure that all those columns are in the proper data type. This is called reformatting, data reformatting, something like that, okay? Formatting the data. Fine, we have done the minimal data transformations, good. And next, what I do is I could see the row.id. This column is not required for me. I keep the cursor over here, right click on it, remove. Look here, the number of steps got increased, right? Earlier we started with the 3 or 4, and then now we could see that the number of steps got increased. And these 2 steps, if you see here up to this, the source, promoted headers, replaced value, these steps were carried out by Power Query Editor itself. We did not do this one. From here onwards, right? These are the steps where these were the steps were done by us. Okay. So now you might be wondering, what is these 3 steps? If you click on this source step, you can see, what is the source, what data file that I used, what is the name of the data file and where it is located. It will show the path name with the file name. What is the CSV file, JSON file, and what is the file name? That you can see it here. Okay, and what is the delimiter, comma delimiter? Number of columns 26. It is using something like encoding 1252 and some code style.num. Okay. Next one is the promoted headers. If you see here, you click on it here. Okay, if you select here, okay, here the row.id, order ID, order date. Look here, if you notice here in the source file, when you loaded the source file, what happens? it considered all the my Excel file or the CSV files data, right, as a the row header. This is a row header. The row header is available as part of the data itself. Ideally, this first row should have been pushed to this here. Okay, the row ID should be here, order ID should be here. So what happens is Power Query Editor, it uses something called promoted headers option here. Behind the scene, it pushes that from your row, from your first row to the row header. It is done automatically, but some cases we may have to do it manually. Okay, and the next one is the replaced value. What happened after it as it promoted the headers? Not in the source, promoted headers. 1 second. Okay, the replaced value, it puts something like this. Okay, yeah, we have sorry, the replaced value, we are dealing with that. These are the steps carried out by us, right? We, the order date we conversions, right? This is the thing. These three steps were taken by these three steps were carried out by Power Query Editor. The rest of them were carried out by us, right? Okay. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to select the file. I don't need Power Query Editor for the time being because I did whatever the transformations or data reformatting, I did it here. Hence, I don't need this Power Query Editor to be open. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit close and apply. There are three options here: close and apply, close. If I click close, what will happen is all these steps carried out by us and the Power Query Editor will not be applied on your data model. So whatever the steps that we carried out, it's all happened in the memory. See all these data, right? And all these columns got loaded in the memory. And then I have removed one column, right? That column got removed from the memory. But if you go and see it from the data model here, but still that row.id will be there here. If you see here, row.id will be there. So how will I, make these steps? What are the steps that I carried out here to make this permanent? All these steps, whatever I applied, right? So only when I select here, apply, it will get applied on my data model. So what I do is we have another option, close and apply. So here what we are doing is we don't need the Power Query Editor. We want to close that and at the same time apply all the steps carried out. Okay, I just select close and apply. And then if you see here, what will happen is it will apply all the steps to your data model. The row.id, you will not be finding it because we removed it in Power Query Editor. Look here, if you move up and down, you will not find the row.id. It got removed permanently. Even in the data view, you will not be able to see the row.id. The first column was the row.id. It is not there now. Okay, you might be asking this question, why should I go to Power Query Editor and remove the row.id column? Can't I remove it here? If I select the column and right click on it, in the context menu itself, we are going to delete. Here also you can delete it, but once you delete it, you will not get it back. For example, I just open the Power Query Editor one more time. Let's see, you see in this case, I have removed the removed columns, row.id, I removed it. Your manager says, no, you need to into row.id. I want this column value to be back to this data set. Here you have an undo option here. When you click on the cross mark next to the step, you can do undo it, right? When you undo this, what will happen? The removed columns, whatever you write, it will go away, which means, for example, if I click on this, Control Z, it's equal to Control Z. I got back my row.id. I got my row.id column back. But if you delete the column from here, you will not get it back. You don't have control Z option. You don't have, it is not maintaining any steps in the data view. The data view is just to view the data. But here also you can make some changes. You can, for example, in the case of quantity column, though it assigned the text data type to the quantity column, we did not see any issues with the values that got stored in the quantity column and discount column as well. Okay, so those kind of things you can go and change the data type here. Okay, I'm going to select apply changes. Okay, done. Now, if I select row order date, for example, in the data view, if I select this, look here, it shows that it got assigned with the data type, correct. And then if I select the sales column, I select the sales column, it shows the sales column got assigned with the decimal number. Very good. Okay. So all these changes, whatever we did in the Power Query, it got implemented, right? Yeah, okay, fine. And if you notice next to each number column here, so currently we are in report view, and on the right side, just beneath the fields pane, we can see that for all the number data type, quantities, sales, next to that, we can see the sigma sign here. Sigma sign here. With this sigma sign, you can make out quickly. So those columns next to that, if you see sigma sign, those are the number type, number data. It could be a whole number, it could be a decimal number. End of the day is a number data, numeric data type. Discount is a numeric data. But what is this sigma says? Sigma is nothing but, look here, when you click on the sales column here also, you can see the menu here. The sales is a decimal number data type. The sales is a decimal number data type. Okay. And by default, all the numeric columns, right? It does the aggregation sum. Okay. It does the total. So, but the default aggregation function is sum in the case of number data type. Okay. You can also change it by selecting the drop down here. You have a lot of other options, other aggregate, average, minimum, maximum, count listing. These are all aggregation function. Okay, but it is not recommended changing it here. Okay, you can leave it as it is. So okay, what is you might be confused. If it does the aggregation, can I see the detailed record? For example, this is a table visual. I just click on it once. The moment I clicked on it, it got dragged and dropped into my report canvas view. Right here, if I drag and drop the sales here, it gives me the total sales. In this data set, how many records were there? Look here, sales W04. We were able to see 25,000 records were there, right? For all these records, it computed the total sales. Okay, you might be wondering, okay, so why the total sales? That is because by default for each number data type columns, right? It performs the aggregation by default. Okay. If you don't want it, look here. So now currently I selected this table. The moment when you select the table, right, you can see something like columns that are on, just beneath the visualizations. Here you can see the sum of sales. Okay. And if you don't want to do this, select the don't summarize here. Click on this one, and then select don't summarize. And also you have average, minimum, maximum, all the things are don't summarize. If you select don't summarize here, it will not give the aggregated values. What is aggregated value? The summary of the total sales. So this is the detailed records. It displays each and every record. So for the 25,007 records, right? Each and every record display the sales value. But by default, what happens when you drag and drop the sales column into any visual, it gives you the total sum, it gives you the aggregated value. Okay, but along with that, see, currently the default one is the sum, right? So what I do is, in this table, I have a column called category. I just drag and drop it here. Now I can see the category column as a second column, but I want to move the category column as the first column, and then this one supposed to be second column. You cannot just drag and drop it here. Instead, you just go to this column speed. Column speed. There you can see that these are the two columns that we have used it in this visual. I just move this up. Category, I just move this up. Look here. Now the category became the first column and the second column is your sales. But you might be wondering, when you just initially when you drop the sales column into this visual, it was showing just this total value. But along with this, when I dropped a column called category, category is a text column. It gives me the breakup automatically out of this total sales, how much total sales we made in furniture category, how much total sales we made in office supplies, and so on. This is automatic. Did I write any formula? Nothing. Did I write any formula to do the sum of sales? Did I do that? No. Simply, I dropped the sales column from my sales W04 into this visual. It gave me a single number, total sales. If you want to see the breakup, I just dropped the category column, it gave me the breakup. Instead of category column, for example, if you drop some other column, like, for example, here I have segment column. And each segment, what is the sales? You can see it here. And now I don't need the category column, let the segment be there. And I just drop this up here. In each, forget about this one is a blank, there is some problem with the data. At this moment, you can ignore it. In each segment, what is the total sales? It gives me that. Okay, any of this, I will discuss it in detail. At this moment, all you need to remember is understand the significance of the sigma notation. Okay, it is wherever you find the sigma notation, right? So those columns are your number type. That's it. Okay, the rest we will discuss it in detail. It is too early to discuss, other things. Okay. It is always good you do the data transformation in Power Query Editor so that you can undo the transformation. If you want to undo later point in time, you can do it there. And also it, it maintains the record as part of the steps pane. Which steps you carried out first, which are later point in time, if you want to verify it, you can verify it. But if you do it here, right, changing the data, simple data transformation, you can change it, you can do it here, but it will not capture whatever the things that you did it here. Okay, the next interview question is, okay, once I load the data into Power BI desktop, will that data, okay, so here I have loaded the sales underscore W04.csv file into this Power BI desktop. Okay, so now this report is available here. For example, this is my report. In this case, I'm using only one visual. Probably I'll create another chart here. I just copy pasted this table visual. Now I selected this one. If I go to the clustered column chart, if I click on this one will get converted to the column chart. This is how you can convert from one type of visual to other type of visual. This is a simple step. Listen, in your report, you have two visual, you call this a report. This report, you can see it here. If you want to share it with your peers within your org, how will you share it? One way out is you can save this and then you can send this file to others via email. But you have the retail chains, a bigger enterprise like Walmart or Amazon, right? So you have 2,000 retail chains are there. Okay. And you cannot send it to each and every person, or even if you create a distributed group, right? You know, there could be problems, there could be some problem, right? So best thing what you do is you publish it on cloud. Once you publish this report on cloud, people across the globe can access this report, provided that you should have given access to them. Okay. And what I do is, for the sake of your understanding, I'm going to save this file. I just clicked on the publish. When I click on the publish button, what will happen is it will publish the report on cloud. I'll just show you how to. Some name, I just give it. Now what happens, it will connect to my cloud. So look here, since I've already specified my cloud server name and the username and password, it got stored. It directly opens my clouds workspaces. Workspace is something like folder. I'll just show you what is a cloud. I just go here. Look here. Here you have something called app.powerbi.com. This is what Power BI Cloud Service. This is where we publish the report. This is what your Power BI Cloud Service. You need to have the login credentials. To create a login credentials, you need to use your official email. Otherwise, it is not possible. But anyhow, at this moment, don't do it. They give only for 60 days trial access. Okay, it is too early to start. Probably after 4 weeks, if you create, that will be good. At this moment, you just understand what is happening. Okay. So what happened here in my Power BI desktop, when I clicked on the publish, it connected to my Power BI cloud service with the given credentials. Already I've given it, it got stored. It's something like a cookies. Okay, it got stored. This time, every time it will not ask you the server name, username, password. Once you give it, it stores it. Okay. Now it got connected to my password. So look here, my workspace. And this is how the workspace. Workspace is something like folders. Folders. Look here in the Power BI cloud service, you will find on the left side something like workspace here. When you click on the workspace, you will find various workspace folders. These are called like folders. You know, you just think about the Windows folders. It's something like, you know, I want to store, I want to publish the report in development folder. Or, once the development folder, they do the, once you do the testing, everything is fine. Or if you have any bugs or something, once you fix it, then that one will be moved to your QA folder. So create some name like, you know, QA underscore sandbox. That is for testing people. Once you are done with your coding part and unit testing, it will be frozen. Okay. What they do is they will push you to another folder. That folder, the QA team will do the test. Hence, we give some meaningful name for these folders. You can create as many folders as possible. So for the sake of demo purpose, what I will do is demo folder. I'll select this folder, already I created it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to the Power BI desktop. Hey, publish this report under demo folder. So this is the one. Okay. And select this one. This report day one sales by segment will get published under the demo folder workspace, which is available in our cloud. Let's wait for a moment. Success. It got published there. We will go and verify it on cloud. So we need to, currently we are in the cloud demo folder. This is where I published it. Look here, the report got published here. Oh, no. Wait a second, not this one. Let me just go back here. Okay, I just select the workspace again and I just open this one. Yeah, here in this demo folder, look at day one sales by segment. What you need to remember here is, what you need to note down here is, I just published this report. I just clicked on it once, it got published in the specified folder on the cloud. Okay, the folder name was demo folder. What is the name of this report file? Day one sales by segment. But if you notice here on cloud, Day one sales by segment, two files are there. This is your report file, this is your data file. Did I publish the data file? No, right? I just published only this report file. But along with the report file, the data also got published automatically by the Power BI desktop. Sorry, by Power BI. How it is possible? For this, you need to have the data gateway should run in your laptop. Apart from installing the Power BI desktop, you need to install Power BI gateway. Even the Power BI gateway is also available on your Microsoft website. It is open source, you can download it. Okay. Once you download the Power BI gateway, data gateway, install it. Installation very simple. Once you download the exe file, you need to click on it, and then you need to press next button. It will get installed. You don't have to do anything, but while installing, it will ask the name for your data gateway. Give some name. That's all. It will be running. Okay. Whenever you restart your laptop, the data gateway will also get started automatically. Okay. Without the data gateway, you cannot publish it on cloud. This is interview question. They will ask you this one. Okay. The data gateway should run in your local system or on premise. On premise is nothing but your local system where you are using your Power BI desktop. Okay, data gateway, there are two options are available. Which one should I? We have something personal and standard. Download the standard one. I just go to the Power BI Microsoft website and I'll show you. And if you go to the Power BI, Microsoft website, and if you scroll down here, you will find there are two types of data gateway. One is standard mode, other one is personal mode. And it is highly recommended to use only standard mode. Don't use personal mode. It has limitations. Don't go by this. Use the standard mode. So done. Once you download this, installation is pretty simple. The exe file will get downloaded. You need to click on the exe file. So once you click on the exe file, the installation window will come up, and there you need to click on next button. That's it. Click on next until you find the installation was successful message. That's all. Very simple one. You don't have to start nothing. Okay. Behind the scene, it will be running it. Okay. You don't have to start or stop it. Fine. So in order to publish your report from your local system, which is nothing but your on-premise server to your cloud, the data gateway should run. Standard data gateway, you need to install it. Okay, fine. So this is the one, right? You need to note down. All we did was just publish the report. Along with the data also got published automatically. How? Because of the data gateway. Data gateway not only plays, it's kind of an agent. It not only publishes your report on cloud, but also the underlying data also get published automatically in a more secured way by the data gateway. It's as simple as it's something like the middleman from your on-premise to cloud. On-premise is local system, okay, local server to cloud. And also from the cloud, if you want to read any data from your local system, your agent should run, not only publishing the data, to your cloud, the data gateway plays an intermediate, the middleman role. And also, if you want to read any data from your cloud to your local system, the data gateways plays a crucial role in that case also. Okay. Okay, next one is the interview questions. A simple question, maybe a screening question. What is the extension of your Power BI report file .pbx? Remember this. This is the extension for your Power BI file, report file. Okay. And we have another extension .pbit that I will discuss it later. And another interview question is, once you load the data into your Power BI desktop, like the CSV file, where the data will get stored. The data will get stored as part of your PBIX file itself. Okay. The data will get loaded. Now, other question is, can I export the data from this visual to my other Excel file? That is not possible, but if you select the visual, right? For example, just above the visual, you have 3 dots. This is called ellipses. When you click on this, you'll have something called export data. When you click on this, each and every visual only you can export it, or if you can go to the data view, and here probably, right click on it, and then you have something like, yeah, you have to do it manually. You need to select this one. Okay, you need to select these values. 1 second. Copy. Okay, copy and put it in another Excel file or something. So column by column only you have to do it, or visual by visual only you can do it. But once you go to the cloud, once you publish it on cloud, look here. This is the one, the data file. I just selected it here. And here I can create a report. No, not this one. File. Download this file. If you download this file, export into Power BI desktop. Again, this one will be a Power BI, desktop file only. You cannot export it, but analyze in Excel is there. You can click on the Excel. Your file is ready. Look here. If you click on the Excel file, to work with the pivot table. Okay, you can do some kind of analysis here. Enable editing. And here, how many of you worked with the, so once it enable content, the data source file, there is some issue. Okay, data check the database server, contact your admin. There are some issues here. So, but even in the Excel file, you can do analysis. Okay, if you click on the analyze button here, right, field header, something like that. Okay, pivot chart, something like that. Clustered column, you need to drag and drop. But any of this, we will take a look at it later. At this moment, we can ignore it. But the point here is you cannot export your entire data to your Excel file upfront. Okay. There are some other way, third party thing, right? Using which you can do it, but you cannot do it directly. Okay. So the extension of this file is .pbx. The data gets stored as part of your Power BI desktop itself. In the case of flat files, CSV files, Excel files, JSON files, like these kind of files, data will get loaded as part of your Power BI desktop itself. If you remember this much, that is enough. And supposing when I share this file to you in WhatsApp or email, what you do is just download it in your laptop, and then right, if you open it, what will happen is you will find all the things. And if you click on it here, you can see the data, everything. But if you want to do any data transformation or something like that, it will throw an error. Because the data file, whatever I use for this report, make sure that you are having that data file also. Okay. And in it, for example, if you want to see the data files that I used in this report, how do we know that what data files that I used it in this report file? Either you can go to the Power Query editor, or without even going to the Power Query editor, here you can see it. The transform data, right? You will find the second option. When you click on this, it will show you what is the file that I used it for this report, what are the data sets, what is the folder this file is there. If I share this report, you download it in your laptop, then make sure that you kept this file under this folder. The next question is, where is this file is available? In my website, it is available. And those of you are yet to receive, make sure that, right, I will probably follow up with the team, and then we will share this right after this session. Okay, ideally yesterday we tried, Right after the session, we'll share the link wherein you can find. So, but instead of going to my website, this is another alternative way. Okay. In the GitHub also the data are available. The first cut data is available. I'll just share it in the chat window. The link, probably you can save it. This is GitHub. Now the question is, how can I download all these files from the GitHub? I'm quite new onto GitHub. Okay, don't worry. Click on the code. Next to the code, you will find the drop down. Click on this one and you will find download zip. When you click on the download zip, all these files will get downloaded in the form of a zip file, single zip file. Once this zip file get downloaded, you copy this, you move this file to your desired folder. There you unzip it. For probably you can create a folder with the name of Power BI training. In that folder, you push the zip file and unzip it. All the files, whatever you say it, you will get it there, including the sales w04.csv. Once you download, right? So what it is, Control F and sales underscore w04. This is the file that I'm using. Use Control F to search it here. Okay. Or here also you can, go and search it in this folder. Once you unzip it, you can see it there. But make sure that you are keeping this file under this folder. You need to create this folder and keep this here. And if you think, no, I don't want to use this folder, I want to use my own folder name, file name, let it be there. So in that case, you open this report file and here change source. Click on the change source and wait for some time. It'll be bit slow. Okay, here instead of D drive, for example, in the C drive itself, we have created a folder by the name of data. You need to specify your path name here, folder path, where the sales w04.csv should be there. Okay, that path you need to specify it. And then click on OK. That's it. You're all set. And then you can do data transformation, everything you can do everything. Okay. This is a very basic data transformation I explained you. Okay. And also we have seen the difference between the data view and then the Power Query Editor. Power Query Editor is very much helpful in terms of performing the data transformation in a much simple way, because a lot of options are available in the menu. Okay, with that you can do all kind of data transformation, and also you can undo the data transformation, whatever the steps that you carried out. Later point in time, if you want to undo it, you can undo it. And also you later point in time, if you want to check what are the steps that you carried out, you can check it out. Okay. Okay, next one, the SQL server. How do I connect to the SQL server? Okay, in my case, I've already created the database here, SSMS. I install the SSMS. SSMS stands for SQL Server Management Studio. It is an IDE for your SQL Server. First, you need to install the SQL Server and then you need to install the SSMS. In the SSMS, what you are seeing here, in this only we are going to write the SQL queries. Why do I have to write the SQL query here? The reason is it is very developer friendly. In fact, you don't have to write every SQL query. Just point and click it, it will generate the SQL queries. You don't have to remember the syntax, everything. Hence, it is very developer friendly. See here, I have already created the database. In that database, I have created a table. Anyhow, creating the database table, everything will explain you later point in time, as we have a dedicated session for that SQL Server session. There we will explain you. See, the SSMS got open, it got launched. All these values got picked up automatically. I did not type anything manually. Simply hit the connect. Don't change anything. Simply hit connect. In case you get any error with this default values, right? The default configuration values, when you click on connect, if you get any error, you simply replace this with a local host, LOCAL host, and try hitting this button connect. it will work. Okay, I just cancel it. I'm going to reconnect one more time because I want to use the default values here. Okay, and I'm going to hit connect here. I'm not getting any error. Now it is getting connected successfully with my SQL server. And next to the databases, you will find the plus icon. When you expand it here, you'll see the databases that I created it here. Okay. And the system database don't ever do anything. By default, for example, if you click on new query here, and if you start create any table here, that table will get created under system databases by default. Okay. Don't ever touch this one. This is meant for the SQL server. It is something like our internal organ, right? Don't do anything with our internal organ. Okay. So, and what we are doing is, hey, you can do something else. For example, you are going for cosmetic surgery. In that case, right, they don't have to touch your internal organ. Just do something, outside of my organs, something like that. So database, you just select databases. It will not take much time. If you want to create a new database, right click on it, new database, use some name here. For example, here I say the database name as supply chain analytics. This is my database name. That's it. You click on the OK button here. Just hit this OK button. The database will get created with this name in a matter of jiffy. I just click on OK here. Look here, the supply chain analytics database is ready. Here you need to create the tables and then load the data into it. Okay. How do I load the data here? How do I create a table? There are different options are available. You can click on the tables and right click on it and new table. Everything, you don't have to remember the syntax also. But in my case, what I do is I just select the database name here, right click on it. We have something called tasks. What I'm trying to do now is the data is available in Excel file. I wanted to load that Excel data into my SQL server this time. Instead of loading the Excel data into Power BI desktop, I want to load the data from my Excel file into this database, a supply chain database. So for this, what you need to do is, see, you might be asking this. So instead of this, can't I create the table here itself? You should you should know the various approaches, right? This is one of the approaches. You need to be aware of it. Right click on it in tasks. In the task, you will find something called import data. And then here, it will ask you the source and destination. Tell me what is the file that you want to load it, right? You need to define the source. Here, I just select Excel. Okay, your source is Excel. What is the Excel file name? In which folder it is available? You need to tell this to SQL Server. Click on the browse here. And here I have something called dim customer. XLS file. Okay, I just hit the open button. So next one is I'm going to hit this next one. So I define the source and the next one is the target. The target is my SQL server. You need to select the driver here, the last one, SQL Server native client 11.0. Okay, in this destination, which database you want to load this Excel data, supply chain analytics. So previously in the back, if you go back, you can see that Excel file name, right? There I specified the Excel file with the folder name. That Excel file, you load it into this database. That is what we are doing it here. Next, and I'm going to select next, and you have something called preview button. So in this dim customer.xls, oddly we have 6 records are there. Just for your review, right? You just check you are using the right file. Yes, okay. And next, I'm selecting the next button. I'm going to click on finish. That's it. Look here, 6 rows got loaded successfully. We don't see any error here. I'm going to close it. I'm going to check whether that table dim customer got loaded here. under this database. Okay. And I'm going to select tables. Next to the table, there is plus sign. I just clicked on it, got expanded. I can see that sheet $1. So what is this? Actually, I have used the dim customers.xls file. In that XLS file, the first sheet name was sheet $1. So no, I don't want the table name should be like sheet $1. I want to rename it. How do I rename it? Right click on it. You will find rename here. Dim customer. Press enter. Fine. And if you expand this plus sign here, right? If you click on the plus sign, and you can see all the columns that belongs to this table, customer ID, customer. Only 2 columns are there. Very good. And I want to see the data. Right click on it. Right click on the table name. Select top 1000 rows. Look here, the query got generated automatically. I did not write the SQL query. I don't have to be familiar with this syntax. I'm new one to the SQL server. If you're a new one to this one, okay, you don't have to remember the syntax. Look here, it made your job simple. And this query got executed, and the output of this query got displayed, here. You have 2 tabs here, results and messages. How many number of rows got selected and how much time it took to fetch these records. And at the right bottom, you can see the total number of records. In this case, hardly we have 6 records. If you have 100,000 of records, right? So you need to keep scroll down. Instead, you can see it here. Okay, at a glance, you will get to know how many number of records got loaded here. On the right bottom, you can see it here. Got it? So, okay, now I create the table. What is the big deal? So I need to connect to this table from my Power BI desktop. Now I head back to the Power BI desktop. Here, I'm going to click on the get data here. I'm going to select the SQL server here. Here, you need to specify the server name. So we are a big enterprise. So many SQL servers are there. Which server you want to connect? I just go here and then I click on connect database engine. Here the server name is there. I select it, right click on, copy it, and then go back to my Power BI desktops, put it here. What database you want to connect? The database name is Supply Chain Analytics. It is optional, but it is good if you specify the database. Now, otherwise, it will open it will show all the, databases that are available in the SQL server. We don't want that to happen. Okay, Supply Chain Analytics. Good. By default, it is an import connectivity mode. If you notice it very carefully, when it comes to database or DBMS like SQL Server, you see some different options, right? The server name, database name, data connectivity mode, import and direct query. The default connectivity is import. Okay. And now I'm going to hit OK button. But when we loaded the CSV file, even the Excel file, when you load it, you will not find this option. It will simply load the data. Initially, it will display the preview window. And then when you hit the OK button, it will load the data. It will not ask these kind of options. It will not show these options. When it comes to SQL server or any RDBMS server, it will show. And even to connect to the cloud-based thing, right? It will ask the server name, everything. So at this moment, let us limit our focus on the SQL server. Server name, database name, the default is import. Advanced, right? I'm not going to use the advanced option at this moment. I'm going to simply hit the OK. Hey, connect to this server and then connect to this database. In that database, what are the tables are there? Show me. Now it will take for a while and it will show you the tables that are available. Look here, only one table, dim customer is available. Select this one. The preview window, you can see this one. I'm going to load this data in my Power BI desktop. So what I'm doing here now is this data, whatever you see it here, whatever the data that you see it here, this data of my dim customer table, this data, I'm going to load it locally into my Power BI desktop. Import mode, import connectivity mode, what it does is it will load your SQL Server table data locally into this one. Look at DIM customer. It loaded here. And if you go to the data view here and DIM customer, you can see the data here. Since you have used the import connectivity mode, the SQL Server table, DIM customer table data got loaded locally into your Power BI desktop. Very good. Okay, what other options are available? I just go to the get data here. I'm going to select the same SQL Server. Instead of using the import connectivity mode, this time I'm going to use the direct query mode. So for that, what I do is I will load one more file here, right click on it and tasks, and then here you will have import data. This time I'm going to load another Excel file. The source is Excel, and then the path is here, the sales fact. This time I'm going to open and load another data file. And here I select the driver. It load that sales fact file data into supply chain analytics database, source and destination, the same way how I did it, right? For DIM customer, I'm doing the same thing. Okay, you need to select this sheet. And then what I do is I just, rename here itself as, okay, the source, I cannot rename it here. Okay. Edit mappings, also edit SQL. Here, what I do is, here I'm going to rename it. Anyhow, I don't want to do it here. Simply click on next, finish, finish. In this case, 92 rows got transferred. And if you collapse this and if you expand it one more time, look at tables, if you expand one more, so you need to refresh it here. Make sure that you are refreshing it. Once you load the data from your Excel into SQL Server, you need to refresh it. Okay. And then look here, it shows some other name. Right click on it, rename it as sales fact. That's all. This is a fact table, this is a dimension table. And right click on it and then select top 1000 rows. Look here, the query got generated automatically. And here we can see many columns. And we don't have to write each and every column. Supposing you wanted to remove certain columns, you don't need all the columns. I removed those unnecessary columns and then select this query. Removing will not take much time, isn't it? When you click on the execute, this query will get executed and you can see the output of the query here, right? The data, you can see the output of your query data here. You can see it. Very good. Okay, I loaded this Excel file into my SQL query. Now, how can I access that one? Supply chain. What is the database name? Supply chain analytics. Okay, supply chain analytics. This time, what I do is I'll just use the direct query mode. Instead of import connectivity mode, this time I'm going to use the direct query mode. Connectivity mode, and I hit the OK button. And here, I'm going to select the sales fact. Already I loaded this. This time I'm using direct connectivity mode to connect the sales fact. Earlier I used import connectivity mode. Okay, let's see what is the difference between these two. Okay, I'm done. I just hit the load button. From Power BI desktop, I'm going to, extract the data from that. Okay, I just, in a warning, you can ignore it by clicking on it. Okay, right? You'll ignore it. Now the sales fact data got, look here, this is the sales fact. If you go to the data view, and if you select the sales fact, you will not see the data here because we have used the direct connectivity mode. In this case, what is happening is the Power BI desktop, it reads the data directly from your SQL server. It is not loading the data locally. Why? So there are situations. If the source system table consists of huge volume. In this case, 99 rows. Okay, but in the real world scenario, the fact table in general will have millions and millions of records. Let's say you have 10 million records or 100 million records are there. Loading the 100 million records locally is a time consuming process, and also it requires a lot of storage space. Hence, what Power BI Microsoft did, right? They have introduced something called direct query connectivity mode. With that, you let the data be wherever it is. In this case, the data is available in SQL Server. All you need to do is just generate an SQL query, send that query to your SQL Server, let that query execute, and then the result set can be sent back to your visual. That's it. In that case, you don't have to load the data locally. Only the metadata gets loaded. What is the metadata? The table name and the column names. Only this metadata get loaded here. But the data resides in your SQL Server itself. For example, I'll just show you here. I'll write it in detail because you need to remember this very clearly. So this is your Power BI. And this is what your SQL Server. This is where we have the database, like a supply chain analytics database. In that, we have two tables. One is, forget about other table. We are going to look at the sales fact because we have used direct query mode to connect to the sales fact table. In this case, what happened? In my Power BI desktop, what we are seeing in the Power BI desktop, right? What happens is, it will generate a SQL query. It will send the SQL query to your source system. This is where the data exists. You don't download this data here, entire data, because assume that it has 100 million records in it. It's a time-consuming process. Instead, you generate the query, send it here. The output of the query will be sent back to your Power BI desktop. It's something like a food delivery app. You have Swiggy app. So what you are doing is, whatever the food that you need, you order it. That order will be routed to your restaurant. There they do the cooking. And then the items that you order, that only will be sent back to you. Isn't it? The same analogy is applicable here. You don't have to have the kitchen here. Okay. So here, same thing. In the case of Power BI, when it comes to direct query, generate the SQL query, the query will be sent to the place where the data resides. And this query will get executed. The output of this one will be sent here. See, for example, you have something called select. You want to do some kind of aggregation. Select sum of sales from sales fact table and group by, so let's say you have something called category. So how many categories are in my data set? Only 3 categories are there. Let's say category A, B, and C. Total sales, how much we made in category A? Let's say something like 100,000. B, let's say 20,000. And C, you have 18,000 something. All the categories put together. So this is a transaction file. Category A, if you see it here, lots of records, lot of orders we sold products under category A. I don't want each and every record of the category A. Instead, you aggregate it, sum. So once you send this query to your SQL Server, and if this one will get executed here, the output will be your 3 records. Only these 3 records will be sent to your Power BI desktop. Visually, see, you are using a chart here. Here in the x-axis, you are using the category. Y-axis, you are using sales, right? The category and sales value, this one will get only 3 records sending from your SQL Server to Power BI. It will not take more time. Instead of sending 100 million records, in this case, it returns only 3 records. This is what is happening in the case of direct query. Got it? In the case of direct query, it simply imports the metadata. What do you mean by metadata? The table name, column name, that's all. And if you go to the data view, also you can see that. Look here, the DIM customer, though we have we got this data from SQL Server, but we have imported it. This data got loaded locally, whereas the sales fact table, we use the direct connectivity mode. So those table, you have used the direct connectivity mode. On top of the table, you find the blue color line. With this itself, we can make out. And also, if you keep the cursor here, it will tell you the storage mode. So direct query mode. The data source type is SQL Server database, and the server name, SQL Server name, the database name. Database name, SQL Server name, and then it tells you what kind of connectivity modes. With that, you can understand quickly. Okay. Okay, I have used the direct query mode, direct query connectivity mode for the sales factor. Fine, but if I go here in the Power Query editor, can I see the data here? Yes, you can see the data here, whereas you cannot see it here. Sales fact table, the data view, you cannot view the data for the table which have used direct connectivity mode, but for the same table, you can see the data in your Power Query editor. But in the direct connectivity mode, you can do the data cleaning, data pre-processing. Very good. But you have some limitation. You cannot do the complex data transformation. For example, I just want to I can do, I can rename the column here. There are simple transformation. Instead of sales amount, I just rename it as a sales. Yes, it is allowing me to rename the column in the case of direct connectivity mode. And also just beneath the applied steps, if you see here, the renamed columns, you can see it here, right? The sales call, sales amount got renamed sales. This script got generated automatically. Fine. And if you keep the cursor over here, right click on it, you will find view native query. When you click on this, the query got generated automatically by the Power Query. You remember from the Power BI, it will send the query to your SQL Server. This is how it generates the query. Okay. This query will be sent to your SQL Server. That query will get executed here. This output will be sent back to my Power BI desktop. Okay, fine. And what are the other limitations of this one? Direct query mode. For example, I want to merge these two columns. I want to combine these two columns in a single column. Right click on it. You have some merge columns. Click on it. The values in this do column will get merged. Look here. The first value C001 is customer ID. The next one is your location ID. Merging is also possible. Keep the cursor over this step merged column, right click on it, and then view native query. The view native query is enabled. The SQL query got generated automatically. Okay. Now what I want to do is, let's say in your data set, let's assume that this is a different scenario. They've given you a column something like this, but your manager wants you to split these two values and put it in the two different columns. C001 value should go to your customer ID column. This one supposed to go to another column, location key column. I want to split the values. Keep the cursor over, right click on it. And 1 second, you have something called mesh split column by delimiter. Space. Right, split the values wherever you find based on the space. For example, C001 followed by your space. Anything after the space needs to be considered a different column. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK. But look here, there is a limitation in the direct query mode. We cannot split the values. This step results in a query that is not supported in direct query mode. Switch all tables to import mode. You need to remember this point also. You can convert. We can switch from direct query to import. The opposite is not possible. Import data I cannot consider direct query mode, but the opposite is possible. But unfortunately, you cannot split the values in a column in the case of direct connectivity mode. This is the limitation. So with this, what we can understand here is direct query mode is good, especially the volume of the data is very high. You don't have to import it locally. Let the data be there wherever it is. We can go and do the data transformation but there, but all the transformation you cannot do it. There is a limitation. Look here, and if you go and this is not been done, right? This step was not carried out. Hence, that step was not mentioned here. This is a limitation. Okay. So what I do is, I don't want to switch to import mode. I just undo this one. Okay, I want to undo this one, split and all. Okay, mesh, and okay, let it be there. Okay, even I don't want to do this step, let it be there. So combining these two things, splitting this, I'm going to do it in my SQL server itself. I'm going to write a different query here. To overcome that limitation, I will have to create a stored procedure or the SQL query here itself. For example, if the both values are in a single column, if you want to split it, you can use substring or something like that, using which you can split it. But that I can do it only in the SQL server, in the case of direct connect mode. So this is called your query folding. What is this? The query is generated, right? This is called your query folding. But if you want to split the values, the query folding will not happen because of the limitations. The interview, they'll ask you the direct connectivity mode, what are the limitations? Or you cannot split the values, you cannot create the index and so on. Anyhow, we'll take a deep dive, the difference between the different types of connectivity mode, the tomorrow session. Since today being the first session, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up the session now. And before that, let me quickly summarize. Today, we have understood the navigation, Power BI desktop navigation, and I have helped you to understand how to load the CSV files into the Power BI desktop. And also we have seen the basic data transfer, what we can do it using Power Query data. And also I explained the three important components. The one is the report view, and the second component is the Power Query data. The third component is model view. It is also called as a Power Pivot. Which one? This one. This is the third component. Okay, this is where we do the data model design, everything. Okay, these are the three components I discussed, and we looked at the Power Query data. Okay, how do we remove a column? How do we address the basic data related issues, data formatting, how to do that, right? So all the things you have seen it. And then I have demonstrated how to connect to the SQL server. But in the SQL server, how to give database, how to load the data from an Excel into your SQL server database. And then I demonstrated how to use the import connectivity. The default is import connectivity. And then we have used the direct query connectivity mode. Okay, in the direct connectivity mode, we have seen what are the limitations are there when it comes to data transformation. Okay, the data will not get loaded here physically. Okay, and that is what we discussed. Okay. And how do we overcome this limitation? For example, I want to split the value. You cannot, do anything with the Power Query. You will have to go to the SQL server. You need to write some SQL queries there. You need to write a query there itself, and that query you can submit it here. There is another option in the SQL server. Please bear with me. I will finish it off in 5 minutes time. Don't worry. Okay. If I take more time, the very first session it will be board, get data, SQL server. And here I just say supply chain database. Here what I do is I just select import mode and advanced option. This I did not discuss. Is there any way I can write the SQL query here itself and then I can submit it? Yes, that is also possible. How do I do that? Let me just open the file which I've used it. Okay, what I do is, okay, look here. In this case, in the sales fact table, we have something called custody column. Your manager wants to see the sales amount along with the customer name. The customer name is not available in this table, but the customer name is available in DIM customer table. Here, if you see here, okay, if you go here, right, the customer name is available here and the customer. What we are doing is we are joining these two tables, the sales fact table and then customer dimension table. Why? Because the customer name is available here, but the sales amount is available here. The sales is available here. Okay. So in order to combine or extract these two columns from these two tables, you need to join these two tables, but you need to join these two tables using the common column. Common column is customer ID. So here what I do is I quickly type this select the customer name here. Comma, the sales amount. I put it in square bracket. So why square bracket? Because in the column name, we could see that a space, sales, followed by that space is there. Hence, we are using square bracket. Okay. And from, I just select the table name, dim customer, comma, I just call this as, C alias, and then I just use this as a yes here, as yes. What is AS? AS is nothing but alias. It's a reserved word. Instead of typing the dim customer every time, I'm going to use a simple an alias. Okay, it's a different name for this one. Okay, and sales fact, I'm going to use yes. And what I do is where I'm going to use the C dot cust ID. Look here, the cust ID is equivalent to S dot cust ID. And then what I do is I just want to do some kind of sum here. I'm going to use sum of sales. I wanted to see, I don't want to see each and every customer's detailed transaction level, the sales amount. I want to see how much amount spent in total by each customer. For that, I need to use a group by. Don't worry about group by all the things. We'll explain it later. Okay, C dot cust ID. Oh, okay, sorry, it's a customer name. Okay, what I will do is I'll just use the customer name here. Or simply I just type the customer name here. Now it is showing me the total amount so far spent by Chris in my shop is this much. Hemal is this much. So this is what the advantage of group by. Okay, I hope you are familiar with group by, correct? Don't worry, I will explain in detail. Okay, this query, I just copy it and then I just put it here. I'm going to hit OK now. So instead of loading the table separately, I've used a query wherein I join the two tables. Okay, in this case, what happened? The data from both the tables will get returned in a single one. Okay, I just use the connect one. You will get some warning. You can click on OK. You can ignore other things. Okay, it will be okay. We could not authentic providence. Okay, use my current credentials. Okay. I just cancel it and I just go back here one more time. Discuss server here. What I am going to do is I'm going to select the advanced because in my clipboard this query is there. Okay, fine. The next one is here. I just go back and select the server name. So what I do is I just use the import and I click on OK now. Click connect. Encryption support, click on OK. It's kind of a warning. You can ignore it. See, in the import mode, it is working fine. The query gets executed. The output of the query you can see in the SQL preview window and hit load here. the query one. Okay, so you can rename the query one. Okay, the one I submitted, right? The output of that one is available. See, the aggregated value is available readily here. Look here, if you select the query one, look here. With that aggregated values, you can go ahead and plot the chart here. Okay, in the customer, you can create in the x-axis, put the customer, and y-axis you put the sum of sales, so that you will get to know, how much amount in totals so far spent by each customer. You can see there. Okay, so this is how we can overcome the the splitting or aggregation related limitations. Okay. You can write a query directly here, and that query you test it, and then you can use it via this one. So you might be asking this question, if I execute it here, I can see the data. So why do I need to, but if you want to create a visual or something like that, right? And also if you want to do some kind of automation, and also companies, right, they have some standard, whatever it may be, use the Power BI desktop. Try to use everything in the Power BI. The worst case, you write the query here, but that query should also be done here, because we want to do some kind of automation, report automation. Hence, you test the query there. And some cases we use the stored procedure. I don't want to bore you by spending more time in the very first session. That we will see tomorrow. Okay. Same time, we will circle back tomorrow. Meanwhile, right, if you have any questions, you can ask me now. You have any questions? I'll just unmute you all. And most of them, they did not join, unfortunately, today. And let me just see. Yeah, it's already, I know you can unmute yourself and ask questions. And before that, I'll just show you my website where you need to look at it. How you, so look here, training in Chennai.info. This is my website. Sorry, I just closed it mistakenly. 1 second. I just. So net connection is there. It is pretty fast. I don't know why it takes this much of time. Sometimes the web server will be, yeah. So we got the website. This is our website. Okay, the LMS site. Okay, and we have deepneuron.in. That is our analytics site. Okay, we do consulting also. We do some software development also. Okay, and here. And this is what our LMS, learning management system. You click on the login here, and then you enter the username, the credentials which I shared it with you. In this case, I'm using another guy's credentials, Jigar. And once you log in here, if you scroll down here, and you will find the link for this. So look here, the previous batch. You need to click on the previous batch. This is for your current batch. This is for your previous batch. Okay, you just click on this. It will show you all the videos link and also the downloadable link. Look here, download resources. When you click on this, you will find 3 options. We would suggest, right, click on this one, the download button of the last one. It will download all the data sets. Okay, the first part of the data sets. Okay, everything will get downloaded. That will be available as part. This one will get downloaded as a zip file, like I have shown you in the GitHub, right? Either you can use GitHub or you can use this one, okay, to download this. And also, if you want to see the videos here, right, the previous batch videos, all the videos are available. For example, if you want the type of chart, you just click on it here. The previous batches live recorded session also you can find it. This is one, this another way of you can fast track it. Whenever you have free time, you can watch it. My net connection is very slow now. Otherwise, you will be able to. You just make sure that you are logging in here and testing it out, okay, whether your connection is working or not. Column chart, clustered columns, data values are displayed side by side. Now let us look at the 100%. I just copy paste this one. We have another type. And also you have the Power BI introduction. 100% stack chart, column chart. The first one, right? Everything is available in sequence. You can watch it, okay? I'll put it in the same order, the way how it appears in. Sometimes it will be, a little bit slow because of the bandwidth is not that good. Okay, and sometimes it will be, slow. Okay, it's still loading it. My network man is bad. Okay, most of the time it will be faster. Okay, and also you can see the data set and assignments, quizzes. Look here, quizzes here. Okay, you take up all these quizzes without fail, and the assignments, you start work on this assignment also, each and every section. But initially the first chapter you will not have any assignment because it's all very introductory thing, the loading the data, everything. Okay. Okay, from my side, I'm done. Any questions so far in today's session? Nothing, right? Okay. We will circle back tomorrow same time, 11:30. Okay. But don't miss any sessions. In case you are not able to attend, we'll share the link. The today's recorded video also will be shared. Give me some time, probably later sometime we'll share it to you all so that you can watch my today's videos also. Okay. All right. Since you don't have any questions, I'm going to wrap up the session now. Okay. Bye-bye. Take care. See you all in tomorrow's session. Bye.